Hi guys, so we're going to try out the Spellbinders new club kits for November of 2021. This is the large die, and I did a little unboxing. I'll link that video in the description box if you want to see the pieces closer up. I'm just going to use a couple of them today. I believe this one's called Christmas Foliage, the large die, strips and borders, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. And I'm going to accompany it with the clear stamp of the month along with the die set that coordinates with that. So again, they did send these items free of charge for my review, and of course all opinions are my own. And any links that I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. So these are club kits. You sign up as far as basically you just order. If you click the links that I have or however you want to get there, you would just add it to your cart. In the club portal, these will go directly to that. And let's say next month, you want to change it out for a different club or keep that club and add a different one, you can just cancel and add. There's no commitment there as far as that. If you let it go, then, the next month you will be charged for the next club shipment, of course. So you can check it out that way. And you get 10% off the site. And like I said, the 10% off once you log in, it's just reflected in the prices that you see. It's not something that comes off at the end of like the transaction or however, or in the cart. It'll just be there when you see the prices that are associated with whatever is there on Spellbinders. So we also have Around the Holidays. That's the clear stamp and die set. Again, you can get this, the clear stamp, or you can pick it up together as a combo, and it does come in some other of the value club kits. So, I think what I'm going to do today is I do want to use the die in here so you can see that in action. So if you wanted to just get those, you can see how the die might work there. And then some of these guys. And looking at this, I want to use the snow one. I think that'll be really sweet. I mean, they're all adorable. Oh, look at the little... I love that. The ornament's so cute. And then the little gifts actually have the dies that go along to cut out the different gifts. So if you want to do that, cut some out and have them, pop out like 3D-ish or however it is that you want to handle that. Super cute. And then of course it has that little kind of die that will help you cut an edge. That's just a plain edge cut with this. And I measured this before. This is 5.5 inches from like the first stamp to the last stamp. And so this is about the same. Really nice for a standard A2 size card. This is a slimline set, so this goes 8.5 inches from one end to the other. And then it has all these little foliage pieces that you can add, wherever you want on your card, but you can make this look like it pops up even more with all these little bits and pieces here. These little guys go on these little like bells. I always call them bells. These little pieces. These are like centers or other little dots or flowers, however you want to use them. But hopefully you can see how this one's notched out differently from this one. I don't think I mentioned that before. So this one has a little notch where these don't. And that little notch goes right in there. So it just pairs up really nicely. Again, little flowers that coordinate back to the flowers that are there. We have the greenery. We have the poinsettias. But I think I'm going to use these two today from the large die set, and I'm going to use the stamp and this guy. So to start off with, I have some paper cut, and what happens is this is going to be a standard A2 size card. So this is 8.5 by 5.5. I will score it at 4 1/4. Where is my scoring board? Here it is. Just used it recently and I put it somewhere else that I normally don't put it. Okay, so there's that. And we will score this at 4 1/4. Okay, sorry about that. And so I'm just going to score this at 4 1/4. The small die of the month also coordinates back to this kind of little edge die, so you can check that out. I believe the glimmer does too. And so I'm just going to fold that now. We don't have to do this now, but I think it's easier to do it now than later. I'm going to stamp on this and edge cut that, so you don't have to score it at this moment. I do have some foiled paper, some metallic foil papers. I think this will be really pretty. I'm going to layer them underneath with these two, I think is what I'm going to do. But sometimes what happens is I don't really know how deep they need to be cut or however, so I'm just going to cut it down to a size that I think is good. Like, I think I want to put the silver layering in behind like this, well, just so we can see the colors, right? So silver, blue, and then the white paper that's going to be stamped. So they're not all going to have to be 4 1/4 inches deep because I'm going to layer them in behind. So this is going to be cut away. This is going to be cut down some. So this is the longest one. So I think I am going to go ahead and cut this one like at 4 1/8 by 5.5. Okay guys, you know, sorry for the rough edit. I had cut this one way, and I always like to make things make sense for you guys, and I don't also want to waste your time, so I didn't want to say, oh, you know what, actually maybe we should do this instead. So I'm just going to cut it here. What you see in the next frame when we go to stamp, it might be, you're going to say, well, what happened to that piece? But I'm just going to redo this part as far as the layers. So I have these pieces that I'm going to cut. Instead of cutting them down already to 5.5, I'm just going to do, just let them be the length of them. This is actually European paper, so it's like A4 size, so that means it's 8.25 inches long, but you can do 8.5, you know, it doesn't matter, the length. I just want to be able to, when I go to layer this up, have it exactly at the right curve, right? Instead of kind of judging like, well, maybe it's over here, and then, you know, kind of putting it together. That way I'll have this whole piece, I can cut it down to exactly where I need the curve to be cut, and not worry about it, okay? That's the easiest thing, I think. So what I'm going to do is, this paper is the whole 4.25 inches deep. So what I'm going to do is just line this up. Again, it's 8.25 inches, so it's going to hang off a little bit of either side, but that's just fine. What I'm going to do is tape this down really, really well. So sorry, again, I like to make things easy. If it was worth watching that, oh, you know, I cut it down first and then it didn't quite work out at the exact curve that I wanted it, if that was helpful, I would keep that information in, but it's just going to waste time. So let's do this. The whole length of your paper, again, we have a slimline die, so it works that way. And then we can cut it down to the exact curve that we want for our card, okay? Which you're going to see in just a minute once we stamp. Okay, so I have this piece, and then I'm also going to layer in this piece. This piece is only about 4 inches deep. It's going to be smaller than this one because, of course, we're going to cut this away. See, I put it right at the very edge. And then this one's going to layer in on top of that one. So this one doesn't have to be 4.25 inches deep. We're actually going to probably end up trimming some of this off anyway at the top, but either way, I'm going to take this guy, and just like we did before, I'm going to keep it, you know, it can go a little higher up. I just was kind of using the edge to help me keep it straight. About there. And just to make it easy, we're just going to add this in as a layer and then just chop off what we don't need, and that will make it super easy, super exact, without having any kind of guesswork, you know? As far as where the curve is at or all that. So let's tape this down in a place that isn't crooked. Okay. Right there, and right here. So I'll run both of these through my die cutting machine, and I'll be right back. Wow, you guys. Oh, look at this. Ooh, so clean, just comes right out. Look at this one. Gorgeous. So I'm going to layer this on top of this, and that's basically what we're getting at here. And then we're going to put this inside of our card. So in the next scene, like I said, we're going to do our stamping. I'm going to have a piece that's cut smaller, and that's fine because that gives me an idea of where I want to stamp. Again, you can do the stamping first and then judge these off of that, or however you want to do it. But so don't get confused when you see a smaller piece that I use in the next scene to let me know kind of where I need to stamp, okay? And then we'll be back to finish up our card. So, looking where this is, and let's say we're going to cut it down. And those are there. And again, we're going to trim these down so they nestle in the back really nice. Just want to have an idea about where I want to stamp. Like in here. And you can do this different ways. I'm just kind of eyeballing, like if I put my stamp bottom there, that might be good. Maybe a little higher up, like right here. So that is about 1 inch and 7/8 from, you know, the bottom there. So I'll line it up there. This will make sense when we actually finish stamping, okay? If you're like, what are we doing? I'm going to take this beautiful thing, and then we're just going to stamp it basically there. Okay? So that's going to help this layer. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so let me get my ink, my stamp positioner, and I'll be right back. So I have some pigment ink, so I'm going to seal it with some clear embossing powder. I'll grab that, and of course a heat tool. Okay, I was just looking for a scrap of paper because I am going to take the sticky layer off of this. And what I mean by that, when you get a new stamp, let me put this here really quickly, just so I know where this is going to be. And again, it's about there. It's where I want to stamp. I'm just eyeballing this, just making sure we still have this the right way. That looks about right. Okay. There's a dispersion layer on photopolymer stamps, and it feels sticky. So what you can do is rub your sleeve on it or something like this, you know, just rinse it off, or try to use stamp cleaner to begin with. Sometimes what you can do is just stamp off. So what I'm going to do is ink this up and stamp it off, just so I can get a great impression the first time. So I just have a scrap piece of paper here. I'm just going to put that down. And a lot of times you get a good impression the first time anyway, but this is just, look at that. I mean, pretty great. Just a way to get that stickiness off, that's all I'm trying to do right now. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so let's bring our card base back. And again, I have this pretty much where I want it to be. So I just want to make sure we stick down our card base. And, oh, I'm going to use my embossing buddy before I forget. You can make something like this yourself. It's just basically like cornstarch or something in that little thing to keep the embossing powder from sticking to everything. But this is clear embossing powder. It's not the biggest deal. So I'm going to put it there. You know, that's pretty amazing already, so I think I'm good. Alright. So I move this. And I couldn't find my my coffee filter that I usually pour this into, and I'm like, where is it? And of course I don't want to get another one, I will find it. So I'm just going to put this on this same scrap of paper. And since this is pigment ink, it'll stay pretty wet for a long time. So I'm just going to top it with some of this. Probably too much. It's all coming out there. And you can clean up if there's somewhere you don't want it. I usually use like a little brush to do that. This is going to get cut off anyway. Just kind of cleaning this area up. Making sure I have that everywhere. Okay, there's a little bit too much here. Okay, and taking my heat tool and just setting it as always. And I'll be right back. Of course, once it turns shimmery or shiny, move on, because otherwise you're going to end up burning it. Hope you can see that it's already done its thing, and I'll move to the next area. So I've got everything cleaned off there. And I'm just going to erase that little pencil mark I made, and I'm going to go ahead and use that die and just cut my edge, and then we'll arrange our pieces behind there. And so we have this guy. And I'm going to put this very similarly, hopefully, to what's going on here. Yep. And this time I'm going to line it up on the left here. Hopefully you can see that, and this is kind of sticking out. And I'm just eyeballing, you know, where I want to put this. And about there. Trying to see about how much I'm giving underneath both of these guys. And again, just tape it down. And I will run this through die cutting machine. I'll be right back. Okay. Aww. No, I stamped that right on the card base. If you want to, you know, stamp that on another white piece of paper and then add it on, you can definitely do that, guys. So, look at that. Super cool. I can go ahead and stamp my sentiment now, which is probably what I'll do before I layer these guys in. And I'm going to do it by hand, like, you know what I'm saying, by eyeballing it and just stamp it. If you want to use a press, go for it. If you want to show you how nicely the stamp cleaned off from the pigment ink, so that's really great. And what do we want to do? Noel, a gift for you. I mean, look at all these happy holidays. Let's go with Noel. I'm just going to stamp it in black, I think. Again, kind of rubbing that, taking that dispersion layer off. And I will stamp this in VersaFine ink because I like to do that with my sentiments. Just stamp it there, maybe. I mean, you can, stamp it underneath. There's lots of, the way the curve goes, you can put it wherever you like. And since I'm doing this and just doing one and done here, I'm going to make sure that all the areas of this get stamped nice. I'm gonna give that a second to dry, but while that's happening, what I'm going to do is kind of pay attention to where I need to put this guy. So again, this is just giving you lots of room to look at it and to keep your curves, the same. I do want this up closer, of course. So I think it's pretty much here. It seems like this is where we're at. So what I'm going to do is take a chunk off of this side. I'm just holding them together. You don't have to do that, but kind of holding these guys together. I was going to glue them together, but the reason I'm not going to glue them together is in case you want to use these on something else, maybe like a hidden altar paper clip or something like that. So if we're looking at this, and I want to cut this like at just over 5.5. It's like 5 3/4. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know this other edge needs to be cut a little bit too. So we're going to cut those two. And we might still end up cutting off some more. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. And then as far as the height of this one, see, we're going to go like here. Basically, we're going to take that last bit off. And the height, I think I want to take about 1/2 inch off. So again, I'm just eyeballing this one. And about 1/2 inch or so. You can do these all together, like I said, but I'm just kind of keeping it separate. That'll go right in there pretty nicely. And then this guy too. I just want to see how far in we're going to put this guy. Aw, okay. So let me clean up a little bit and then we'll get these guys going. So what I'm going to do is glue this one down first. And I'm actually going to put glue on this because I know kind of around here, right to the edge. Now that edge is going to go off. And as I look at it, we'll lay this down, kind of eyeballing where it is that I want this to be. And then we'll put down the silver one. I'll give that a moment to set up. And then we'll glue down our silver one, okay? I'll be right back. And while I'm waiting for that to set up, we can go on with our next one. And again, just... So again, there's so many ways you can layer this up and so many ways to get that done. I'm just showing one. And I'm going to lay that in there. So cool. Love that silver and the blue. Okay, I'm just going to wait for that to set up, and then we're just going to square it up with our guillotine. Just cut it down so it's nice and squared up again. All right, I'll be right back. Drying before we square it up because I do want the glue to be dry so I can get that in the guillotine. I have these two little trees. I thought they'd be sweet to go along with that. Even though everything's blue and icy, I thought, oh, I added some little trees or a little something. So I have these two. I'll have the link for the set that came from. It was one of the newer Rejoice Nativity sets. I believe it's the Through the Woods. And I have a little scrap of green, kind of metallic, super metallic paper. So I thought these would be fun. So what I'm going to do is just run these through, and I'll be right back. Okay. So we have our little trees. I might use all three, I might not. We'll see. So this guy, now I'm just going to bring over my guillotine and just cut down the extra bits here. Go. And I'm going to cut a little bit off the other side too. Just laying that up perfectly. And square this side up a little bit. Here's our card base. Okay, so we have that gorgeous card base. I have my little trees. I was thinking of putting them like kind of in here. So sweet. You want to put a little fake snow on them, that'd be adorable. Do it this way. Yeah, so I think I'll just glue these guys down completely. And then I'll pop up the other two. So I hope that this tutorial helps you out. Super pretty. Love this whole thing. Again, as far as layering it up, you know, if you're doing a slimline, you're just going to do across the whole thing and just put them together. They're going to be exactly the same. If you're going to interchange them with some of them that are shorter, or like the stamps, you know, you want to look at your curves and kind of have an idea where those are going and set it up that way. So hopefully what I did was a simplification of how you might want to do that. Now let's see here. And like I said, these other pieces I would definitely keep and maybe, you know, add them onto a hidden altar paper clip or just a little something like that. Let me put some dimensional adhesive on the back of this and I'll be right back. So pretty. And definitely check out, you know, Spellbinders has a blog, of course, and they have all kinds of images. And of course with the link, like if you were looking at the large die of the month or the stamp of the month or the small die of the month, you can see, and the glimmer, you can see all kinds of ways of using these guys. They're so, so pretty. So there it is. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry, so yeah, so there it is. Thank you so much, Spellbinders, for sending these items for you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll have the links in the description box. I'll have images for you guys coming up right now, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye now.